So, Congressman, am I to understand that in Donald Trump's America, members of Congress can be doing their jobs by exercising oversight in any place across this country? Federal agents can arrive at that location, escalate the situation themselves by roughing people up, literally putting their hands, on the members of Congress. And then if a member of Congress reacts, does anything except stand there and allow themselves to be roughed up, charges can be brought against them for assault in Donald Trump's America. Is that what I'm understanding here?
I guess that's right. I mean, it's so clearly political intimidation. It's such a clear political prosecution. And I say that as a former prosecutor with the Department of Justice for 10 years, and I read the complaint. It is a sham. There is paper-thin evidence, if any. There are allegations that are then contradicted by the photos that they include in the complaint. And what I find particularly interesting is the complaint is sworn out, meaning sworn to, by a special agent with the Department of Homeland Security's Homeland Security Investigations. That's their law enforcement investigations unit. One of the purported victims of the quote-unquote assault is also a special agent from Homeland Security Investigations. That is an egregious conflict of interest to have the main investigative agent as a colleague of the purported victim. The whole thing is a joke, and it is intended to silence political opposition, just like everything else Donald Trump is doing.
The fact that there's reporting from NBC that this did not follow standard protocol, that this did not go through DOJ's public integrity department as it ordinarily would if charges were brought for a sitting member of Congress. What does that tell you about the way that this DOJ is operating?
Well, I've been seeing the way this DOJ has been operating for the last 4 months, and it does not surprise me. They fired prosecutors who were involved with the January 6th investigation and Donald Trump's investigation. They fired FBI agents. They've fired inspectors general. They are politicizing every single aspect. They got rid of most of the prosecutors in that public integrity section. And now what they have done is they've taken away the independent, apolitical review of any investigative act, short of charging, but including charging, against sitting elected officials. That was a check that was put in after Watergate in the Department of Justice, intentionally to remove politicization from the Department of Justice. They have now pushed that away, removed it, and we're seeing why. These charges would have never been authorized by that unit if they still existed as they were designed to exist.
I think to the point you're making, Congressman, it is aptly noted in NBC reporting regarding how the DOJ has departed from those standards. The Justice Department did not follow its standard practice of consulting the public integrity section before bringing charges against Representative LaMonica McIver, according to a person familiar with the matter. So the idea that there were standards in place that were not followed really makes what we hear from Republicans ring very hollow when they talk about this. When you have, for example, the reaction today by John Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson. Let's take a quick listen.
Nobody, of course, is above the law. And I have full confidence that the court system, the judicial system in this country will handle that issue in an appropriate way.
I do think there is a role for the Federal Department of Justice to play here, and I would encourage that to happen, because we have to set a standard here. You cannot have members of Congress pushing law enforcement officials around, and that's exactly what everybody saw in the videotape.
We have to set a standard, but the standard was already in place. You have a process through the public integrity section that they have to follow. So what standard is the congressman referring to?
Well, let's focus on Speaker Mike Johnson for a second. This is a member of Congress who was executing her constitutionally authorized and statutorily authorized oversight duty. The law says that members of Congress can show up unannounced at Department of Homeland Security's facilities to do their oversight. That's what she did. After this whole horrific assault that they're talking about, she had an hour-long tour of the facility. And here's the Speaker of the House, who is not defending the institution from what is so clearly politicized prosecution, yet again the Republicans in Congress have just completely turned over all of their own authority as a separate and equal branch of government to Donald Trump's weaponized government. And they will continue to toe this line. It's the same reason that they put forward all of this BS about Joe Biden weaponizing the federal government, because we all know that it was Donald Trump who did it, and it is certainly Donald Trump who's doing it now. And you are not seeing anything coming out from this Trump administration about any politicization or weaponization of the government during the Biden administration. All we're seeing is them doing that. But they're trying to create a dynamic where they've convinced the public that this is just a quid pro quo, so to speak. This is tit for tat. Well, they did it, so we're doing it. That's BS. That is absolutely not the case. This is as bad as it's ever been. This is worse than Watergate.